Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something. When was the last time you really saw the world around you? I'm not talking about just looking. I'm talking about seeing, with clarity, with focus, with intention. See, too many of us are walking around with blurred vision, not because our eyes are weak, but because we haven't trained them. Just like the body needs discipline, just like the mind needs direction, your eyes need attention. Now don't get it twisted. This ain't about vanity, this is about vision. This is about your ability to see what matters, to focus on the details, to read between the lines, to see opportunity where others only see obstacles. So let's talk about these eye exercises, not just the physical, but the metaphorical. Yes, roll your eyes gently, focus near, then far, blink, rest, move, but don't stop there. Exercise your inner vision too. Every morning, wake up and see your goals, zoom in on your purpose, adjust your focus away from distractions, strengthen the muscles that help you look past fear, past doubt, past what they said you couldn't do. Vision, real vision, starts with clarity of purpose. Train your eyes to look up when life tries to pull you down. Train them to look within when the world is too noisy. Most people go through life thinking that seeing is automatic, something passive, something guaranteed. But vision, true vision, isn't something that just happens. It's something you build, something you work for, something you train. Just like an athlete strengthens their body, just like a scholar sharpens their mind, a person must develop their vision. And I don't mean with glasses or contacts. I mean the kind of vision that helps you notice the details others miss. The kind that helps you focus in a chaotic world. The kind that sees through the fog of distraction, fear, and noise. When you walk into a room, do you really see it, or are you scanning, glancing, assuming you know what's there? Most of the time, we let our eyes go on autopilot. We look, but we don't observe. We see people, but we don't really notice them. We see signs, but we don't read the message. That's because we've gotten used to letting the world blur around us. Our eyes are open, but they're not engaged. Our sight is working, but our vision is weak. That's why vision requires training. Like any muscle, the eyes grow stronger with effort. Eye movement, focus range, depth perception. These aren't fixed abilities. They can be developed. But more importantly, the brain behind those eyes can be trained to interpret the world more clearly, more deeply, more truthfully. And that's where the real transformation begins. Think about it. You wouldn't expect to run a marathon without training your legs. You wouldn't expect to perform on stage without rehearsing your lines. Yet we expect our eyes to process screens, signs, people, faces, emotions, words, and environments, all without ever giving them the exercise they deserve. We treat vision like a guarantee instead of a skill. So how do you train vision? You start with discipline. You start by making your eyes work, even for just a few minutes a day. Simple exercises, tracking a pencil side to side, shifting focus from near to far, rotating your eyes in slow circles. These aren't gimmicks, they're workouts. They tell your body this matters, this sense is important. Let's keep it strong. But vision training doesn't stop at the physical level. There's a deeper training that must happen. Mental, emotional, spiritual. You've got to practice seeing your life with clarity. Most people don't fail because they're lazy. They fail because they lack vision. They don't know what they're aiming for. They haven't trained themselves to see the goal. They haven't locked in on the target. And if you can't see where you're going, you'll never get there. Training your vision means slowing down, paying attention, practicing focus when the world wants you scattered. It means noticing the expressions on people's faces, the movement of your surroundings, the signs your body gives you. It means learning to spot patterns, to recognize what's real and what's just noise. When your vision is strong, you move differently. You make decisions with confidence. You spot opportunities where others see risk. You find direction in chaos, and here's the truth. Better vision is available to anyone willing to work for it. You don't have to be born with perfect eyes. You don't have to be lucky. You just have to be committed. That commitment starts with the understanding that your eyes are not just windows. They're tools, they're instruments, and like any instrument, they must be tuned, maintained, refined. We live in a world designed to weaken our vision. Screens demand constant attention. Ads flash and blink and distract. We're taught to scroll, to skim, to swipe. We're trained to take in too much too fast, and as a result, our vision grows dull, not just the eyes, but the mind. We become overstimulated but underfocused, surrounded by images but starving for clarity. That's why training vision is a form of resistance. It's a declaration: I choose to see clearly. I choose to focus when everything around me is trying to pull me off course. I choose to take back control of what I look at and how I look at it. Because when you take control of your vision, you take control of your life. Better vision isn't a miracle. It's a muscle, a skill, a choice, and the first step is recognizing that looking is not the same as seeing. Just because your eyes are open doesn't mean your vision is awake. Vision requires effort. It requires stillness. It requires intention. It requires practice. Eye exercises improve both physical and mental focus. Most people think of their eyes as tools for seeing the outside world, but few realize how deeply connected they are to the inner workings of the mind. Your eyes are not isolated. They're wired into your brain, into your nervous system, into your entire sense of awareness. When your eyes are sharp, your attention sharpens. When your focus improves physically, your mind follows. That's why eye exercises aren't just about vision. They are about focus, discipline, and presence. Start with this. Every time your eyes dart from one screen to another, every time they flicker through images, notifications, lights, distractions, you're training them to be restless. You're training them to move without intention. You're building habits of distraction, and over time your mind mimics that same pattern. It loses the ability to stay still, to concentrate, to zero in. That's the cost of a distracted visual life. Your eyes teach your brain how to operate, but the opposite is also true. When you take control of your visual attention, when you slow it down, when you train it with purpose, your mind starts to follow that rhythm. You regain control over what you pay attention to. You reclaim focus, and that starts with the exercises. The small, repetitive movements that seem simple, but are powerful. Moving your eyes in figure eights, shifting focus from a near object to a distant one, practicing smooth tracking of a moving point. All of these awaken the connection between the eyes and the brain. The science backs this up. Visual attention and mental focus are rooted in the same neural systems. When you practice eye movement control, you're not just improving your eyesight. You're improving your ability to think clearly, to hold attention, to stay mentally locked in. That's why athletes train with visual drills. That's why pilots and snipers, people whose lives depend on precision, use eye exercises. They know that visual control equals mental control. They know that your ability to see clearly is deeply tied to your ability to perform under pressure. Now think about your own day. How many hours do you spend in front of a screen? How often do your eyes get locked into one fixed distance, one field of view? Over time, this weakens your range. Your eye muscles don't get the variety they need. Your peripheral vision narrows. Your ability to shift focus declines. But more importantly, your mind becomes accustomed to tunnel vision, both literally and figuratively. You stop noticing the world around you. You stop seeing options. You become reactive instead of responsive. That's where eye exercises come in, not just to correct a problem, but to develop a new way of seeing, a way of engaging the world with awareness. When you train your eyes to move deliberately, your attention sharpens. When you stretch your visual range, your mental flexibility grows. When you blink consciously, rest your gaze, and switch between depths, You're not just caring for your eyes. You're giving your mind the tools to reset. Eye exercises also build patience. They slow you down. In a world that's always rushing, always demanding, they force you to be present. They ask you to focus on something small, repetitive, even boring. And that's the point. Focus isn't about excitement. It's about commitment. It's about the ability to stay with one thing long enough to understand it. And if you can train your eyes to do that, you're training your mind to do the same. There's also power in stillness. When you do eye relaxation techniques, like palming or gazing softly into the distance, you're training your nervous system to calm down, your breath slows, your shoulders relax, your mind quiets. These aren't just physical changes, they're psychological. They signal to your brain, we are safe, we are here, we can focus now. That's how physical eye training crosses over into mental clarity. We live in a noisy world, a world of pop-ups, pings, updates, alerts. Our attention is constantly under attack. So if you don't train your eyes, you lose your ability to filter. You lose your ability to choose what matters. But when your eyes are disciplined, your focus becomes powerful. You stop reacting to everything. You start choosing. You start aiming. You start locking in on what really counts. That's the deeper purpose of eye exercises. They reconnect you to focus, not just the kind that helps you read a book or finish a task, but the kind that helps you live with intention. Because the sharper your visual control, the stronger your mental discipline. The more you train your eyes, the more you train your mind. Clarity of purpose sharpens inner vision. You can have the strongest eyes in the world, but if you don't know what you're looking for, you're still blind. Purpose acts like a lens. It brings things into focus. It helps you see through confusion, cut through the noise, and lock in on what matters. Without purpose, your eyes wander, your energy scatters. You chase distractions, not direction. But when you know your purpose, your vision aligns. Your sight becomes sharper, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, spiritually. When someone has clarity of purpose, you can feel it in how they carry themselves. They don't waste movement, they don't hesitate, they look ahead, not behind. They don't need to see everything, they only need to see the next step. Their inner compass guides their outer gaze. That's what vision with purpose does. It gives you direction even when everything around you is uncertain. People often confuse sight with vision. Sight is a sense. Vision is a mindset. Vision doesn't come from your eyes. It comes from your why, and that why, your purpose, becomes the framework through which you interpret the world. Without it, you'll find yourself reacting to everything, chasing every light that flickers, every voice that shouts, every offer that glitters. But when your purpose is clear, you know how to filter. You know what to ignore and what to pursue. You know what belongs to you and what's just noise dressed as opportunity. Purpose gives power to your focus. It teaches you how to say no. It trains your mind to zoom in when distractions try to pull you off course. It tells your eyes where to look and your feet where to step. When your purpose is strong, your focus becomes selective. That kind of selectivity is strength. Not every fight is yours. Not every path is yours. Not every offer deserves your attention. But you can't know that unless your vision is aligned with your purpose. Clarity of purpose also makes your actions more efficient. You stop second-guessing. You stop circling back. You stop looking at everyone else's lane. You're no longer searching for the path you're walking it. And when you walk with that kind of conviction, your perception changes. You begin to see things you missed before. You recognize patterns. You spot opportunities. You interpret setbacks not as signs to stop, but as lessons to adjust. Your inner vision becomes your guide, and that guide stays with you no matter what happens outside. Even physically, clarity of purpose affects how you use your eyes. People with purpose have more presence. They maintain eye contact. They observe. They stay grounded. They don't look away when things get tough. They don't drift off when things get boring. They're locked in. They're paying attention because they know what they're here for, and they don't want to miss anything that helps them move closer to it. Purpose sharpens the way you see because it sharpens the way you think. This kind of vision isn't born, it's built. It comes from self-reflection, from asking hard questions and answering them honestly. What do I care about? What am I working toward? What kind of life am I trying to live? Once you answer those questions, your vision starts to change. You stop looking around for validation and start looking ahead with intention. You stop seeking permission and start seeking alignment. Your eyes, your thoughts, your decisions, they all start to follow the path of your purpose. Even in moments of confusion, purpose provides clarity. It reminds you what you're committed to. It cuts through the uncertainty. You may not know the full picture, but you can still take the next right step. That's what inner vision is. It's the ability to see forward even when things are foggy. It's not about perfect sight. It's about guided sight. Purpose is that guide. In a world full of distractions, temptations, and shortcuts, people with clear purpose are rare, and they're powerful. They see through the game. They know what's real. They know what matters, and that clarity gives them confidence. They don't waste time trying to be everything. They focus on becoming who they were meant to be. Their vision isn't about speed, it's about direction. It's not about seeing more, it's about seeing deeper. So the sharper your purpose, the clearer your vision becomes. You stop drifting, you start aiming, you stop reacting, you start choosing. Your inner vision gets stronger because it finally has something worth seeing. Not just the world as it is, but the world as it could be. Because you're moving through it with intention, with awareness, with focus anchored in something that truly matters. Daily habits build lasting visual strength. What you do consistently shapes what you become, and your vision is no exception. It's not about making one big change or doing something dramatic once. It's about the small, steady actions you repeat every day that create real, long-term results. Your eyes, like any other part of your body, respond to repetition, discipline, and care. The way you treat them on a daily basis determines their performance over time. The strength of your sight, the clarity of your focus, the sharpness of your attention, it all comes down to habit. We live in a world that overworks the eyes and undertrains them. Hours spent staring at screens, locked into the same distance, the same lighting, the same tension. We strain to read, to scroll, to respond, but we rarely take the time to reset, to exercise, to care for the very tools we rely on the most. That's where habits come in, because discipline doesn't have to be complicated. It just has to be consistent. A few minutes every day devoted to the right kind of attention can strengthen your visual system far beyond what you think is possible. Simple actions done regularly can rebuild what neglect has worn down. Start with basic focus shifts, looking at something up close, then far away, back and forth, letting your eyes adjust naturally. That small habit trains the muscles responsible for changing focus. It's like a workout for your lens control. Then there's blinking, something so automatic we forget it's part of eye health. Slow, full blinks help spread moisture, reduce strain, and signal rest to the nervous system. Making it a habit to blink deliberately every few minutes, especially when working on screens, restores natural balance. Another daily habit is palming, rubbing your hands together to create warmth, then gently placing them over your closed eyes. Just a minute of this reduces light input, relaxes the eye muscles, and gives your vision a brief but powerful reset. It's simple, it's free, and when you do it every day, it adds up. The key is not doing these things once in a while, but building them into your routine so they become automatic, just like brushing your teeth or stretching your body. Habits like the 20-20-20 rule. Every 20 minutes, look at something 20 feet away for 20 seconds. Might seem small, but they make a big difference. They break the constant close range stress that screens demand. They give your eyes variation, and variation is essential for strength. Just like you wouldn't train only one muscle group in the gym, you shouldn't lock your eyes into a single range or activity. Daily variety trains your eyes to be adaptable, responsive, and resilient. The impact of daily habits isn't just physical. They teach your mind something too. They say, this matters. They reinforce awareness. They pull you out of autopilot and back into the present moment. When you take 2 minutes to stretch your vision each morning, you're not just working on your eyesight. You're training your attention. You're telling your brain, we're starting the day focused, present, and prepared. That repetition becomes identity. You become someone who sees clearly, not just with your eyes, but with your choices. Your habits shape your baseline. If your days are filled with visual strain and no recovery, your baseline becomes tension. But if you build habits that restore and strengthen your sight, your baseline shifts to balance, and that becomes your new normal. You'll notice your eyes don't fatigue as quickly. Your focus lasts longer. Your headaches lessen, your reading improves. These aren't just coincidences, they're results, the natural outcome of daily investment. Even posture is a habit tied to vision. The way you sit, the way you hold your devices, the way you position your neck and shoulders, it all affects how your eyes function. Slouching can restrict circulation. Poor angles can cause strain. Making it a habit to sit upright, to raise your screens to eye level, to step away from time to time, all of these shape your visual performance. One adjustment won't fix it, but daily commitment will. The beauty of habit is that it becomes effortless. You don't have to think about it forever. You build it, and then it builds you. That's how strength works. That's how endurance works, and vision is no different. You don't need perfect genes or expensive tools. You need consistency. You need intention. You need to show up for your eyes every single day with small acts that build big change over time. So if your sight is dim, don't just reach for a lens. Reach for a habit. Start small, 10 minutes a day. Close your eyes, breathe, then open them with intent. Track a finger side to side. Focus on a candle flame. Rest your gaze on the horizon. Little by little, you'll sharpen your sight and your spirit. You want better vision, then see better, train better, live better. Because when your eyes are strong and your focus is clear, there's nothing you can't see coming, and there's nothing you can't chase down. Thank you.